It's still day 16. I've got a little bit of time left to continue trying things. So I am going to do an attempt at my favorite 2D Mario game, Super Mario Land. Probably my second favorite Mario game as well. My number one is Mario Sunshine, which I don't know if that game's viable, because that game's kind of long. But it's not that long if you know what you're doing. But it still is kind of long. Whereas this game's really short. The only problem is I forgot the timer. The only problem is if you game over, you do have to restart the entire game, which actually makes this my third attempt at beating this game during this challenge. Because the first time I was trying to play on Super Game Boy, on the SNES, and the game crashed. I have no idea how that happened, because the Super Game Boy itself didn't crash. Only Mario Land crashed. But I could still use the Super Game Boy features. So I don't know if it's just Super Game Boy is very jank, or what happened, or if my Super Game Boy just kind of messed up. Because it's not my cartridge. I've beaten this game on original Game Boy Color, or original Game Boy rather, Pocket Game Boy, a green one that I have. I've beaten it on that there once. Plus, while playing on Game Boy Player, the game's never crashed. So I feel like it's gotta be something weird with the Super Game Boy and not my cartridge. But then the second time I did just game over because I was getting super unlucky with a lot of the bonus games and just getting super balls instead of extra lives. Because that is kind of the strategist for beating this game in general. If you wanted to play it and, not use save states or anything, you'd pretty much just want to get to all the bonus games and get as many lives as possible. Because this isn't really a difficult game. There's just a couple things that kind of make it awkward. For one, the momentum when you jump is pretty weird. But when you get used to it, I find it's one of the most satisfying jumps in a game. Because when you jump, sure, you have weird forward momentum, but if you immediately press backwards, he will instantly stop where he is. So it makes precise platforming actually feel really nice. Yeah, see, Super Ball, I don't want that. I'm just gonna lose it anyway. Super Ball's not really all that useful. But then another problem with Super Mario Land, in terms of sometimes it being difficult, is you really need to be aware of how checkpoints work in the game. Because checkpoints will spawn you wherever they spawn you. And you do not get a lot of time sometimes to react to what's directly in front of you when you respawn. And sometimes, in fact, I would say most of the time, you respawn in front of a bottomless pit. So if you are holding run and holding forward when you respawn, you are likely going to die. You just need to be aware that anytime you respawn, always know what's ahead of you before You just go running. There are only 4 worlds in the game, though, so it's really isn't that long. In fact, when I first played this game, I did beat it actually on my first attempt, and then it was so short and so fun that I immediately started doing speedruns of it. I don't remember what my PB ended up being. I don't know, this is one of those games, though, where when I didn't run it for a while, and I tried again, like, all my muscle memory was gone. If I were to try running this again, I would definitely have to relearn it, especially because I think the movement's, like, different now compared to when I ran it, so it's not like my strats would even be good anyway. Plus, there were some strats I never had learned in the first place. This boss we actually do not have to beat. We can kind of just run under him and then hit the button behind him. So that's pretty convenient. Luckily, you do get a bonus level after each boss. You don't have to do anything special to get it, you just beat the boss and then you automatically get a chance at more lives. Yeah. I feel like if I go to the 3, though, I'm just gonna get the Super Ball. So maybe I was supposed to try and get the Super Ball, and then the ladder would be where I get the 3 instead? Maybe. There was... When I tried this game the second time, there was a strat I wanted to try doing, that partially was responsible for me failing that attempt, just because I'd lost a couple lives to it. So I'm not going to try it this time, because unfortunately my muscle memory for that trick is gone. But I actually used to be pretty good at it. It was the rock jump, where instead of having to wait for a cycle on one of the rocks, you just immediately jump. Onto it while it's in the air. And I had a pretty good, like, visual lineup. For it. It was like when the rock hits that, like, dip in the clouds, then you run and jump, and it's pretty easy to make. But again, that muscle memory's gone, so... I mean, if I tried it a bit, I probably could get it back, but not worth losing the whole run to try and do that. Especially, I would say, honestly, World 3 is the hardest world in the game. I don't think World 4 is nearly as hard, but World 3 just has some really awkward platforming and, like, a bunch of enemies running at the screen. So if you're just holding forward and... I felt like if I went for the 3, I was gonna get the 1, so I was trying to get the 1 so I get the 3. If you just hold forward on, like, level 1, 3-1, or 3-3, you're probably just gonna die. You have to kind of do a stop-and-go sort of approach. Oh, and on this level, too, because of these spiders. Then I don't find World 4 to be as hard. Although, World 4, honestly, is probably a little harder in the speedrun. Because there's just, like, a really hard trick that I never got used to in 4-2. Really, that put me back pretty far. Usually the checkpoints don't put you back that far. Or unless that was just an area that looked very similar to a previous area. Sometimes the checkpoints, though, in this game are very, very weird. There is a part in 4-2 where there's this big jump you can make to, like, skip a platform cycle. But you don't actually lose that much time if you miss the jump, because dying actually sets your checkpoint further in the level. It obviously would be quicker not to die, because you wouldn't have to... You wouldn't have to watch the death animation and wait to respawn and everything. But it still is faster just to die there than to wait for the cycle. The one thing I didn't want. Super Ball. Yeah, this level's probably the most awkward with the platforming. A lot of moving platforms over big bottomless pits. Plus you still have like a bunch of enemies coming after you and everything. Did not know that was there. I was actually looking for a mushroom. Just in case, but that definitely helps. Do I go for the platform cycle skip? Probably not. Because you can, like, skip the cycle if you, like, run under that platform at, like, the right time, and you jump, and then you don't have to go all the way up. Oh gosh, dude, that's a terrible checkpoint. It's actually not too bad, it just feels really bad. The rocks will kill you as well, if they touch you from the side. While you can use them as a platform, you still want to be careful of them. Very good to have a mushroom for that boss, because then you could just damage boost through him, no problem. But at least 9 lives going into World 4 really shouldn't be a problem, because it's only 4-1 and 4-2 that have really any sort of challenge to them. 4-3 is another auto-scroller, so it's generally pretty easy. And then if I have a mushroom, the final boss will be very, very easy, as long as I get the first phase down low, because I think that's the kind of boss where the first phase is actually the trickier phase, in my opinion. Because there is a strat you can use. to make the second phase just insanely quick. I see 4-1. I mean, this is kind of just like a normal level. Doesn't have any of the awkward enemies or tricky jumps that levels in World 3 did. I mean, that's like one tiny section. Is this the star? No. I do remember damage boosting through this. I don't know if there's a star anywhere or if you are just... like, damage boosting is just the strat for that. I kind of remember there, like, being a star there. At least I got a mushroom, because I don't know why I just stood in that explosion. Come on. Of course, it's just a coin. Alright, 10 lives for 2 levels. Very, very good. Dude, always with the one. This level can be a little awkward, though. Especially with, like, these enemies. I'm surprised that Koopa didn't get me. I'm surprised that ball didn't get me. I definitely remember, like, damage boosting or something through this. That Goomba is, like, even in a run, that's, like, the worst Goomba ever. Probably just supposed to wait another cycle, but obviously if you want to go fast, you don't want to have to wait for this slow Goomba to move. Ah, shoot. As far as, like, normal Goombas go, and just, like, normal Mario platformers, so not counting, like, you know, RPGs or anything like that, is this the, like, worst Goomba in the series? Like, the one that kills the most people? I would think that could be likely. Yeah, I should've just gone. I forgot about these fireballs, though. One thing, though, that makes this level kind of not too terrible is that, yeah, these fireballs can be very annoying, but for one, you get a star there, so it negates some of the challenge. But also, anytime you die, the fireballs around the checkpoint despawn. Honestly, I always wondered why that was. If I had to guess, though, it's probably because if they were still moving, then they could just, like, spawn kill you. And now that I think about it, I think most enemies around you despawn. I don't know why it was so memorable to me that the fireballs specifically despawned. Yes, finally, 3 lives. 12 lives for the final level? I mean, that's, like, super, super good. Especially because, again, I don't think this level's that hard, because it is another auto-scroller. It's quite a bit longer than... 2-3. But it's still kind of the same thing. You just dodge the enemies, dodge their attacks, shoot them if you can, break the blocks, because sometimes they'll have goodies in them. Yeah, I kind of wanted that, but I guess I shot too early. I don't remember if we can destroy these sparkly things. Like, I kind of... Yeah, you can. Okay, I was thinking you could. Like, it looks like it's kind of just a stage hazard, but no, you can if you shoot them enough. You can defeat them. One thing that's going to be important for the final boss is to note that A and B both shoot in these levels. And you can press A and B, like, right next to each other to kind of shoot two at the same time. I think it's practically the end of the level. Yeah. Alright, so the first phase is the final boss. I'm gonna just play normally. Well, now I can't do the strat. I need a mushroom to be able to do the strat, because I have to take damage. But basically what I would do is, as the final boss is spawning, I'd be right up on him. Well, maybe I could try again. I don't know if you get sent back far enough to get a mushroom. You do. Okay. Alright, I'll try again, though. Honestly, though, sometimes these fists are, like, really scary, but they're really not a problem. They did hit me, though, so, again, I can't do the strat. I guess it's best just to, like, lead him all the way around before you get back in front of him. Obviously, it's not faster, but it's better. Yeah, so I'd be, like, right up on him, so as soon as he becomes able to where he could be attacked, I would take damage. But then I can use the hitting A and B at the same time to be getting two shots at him instantly. And that would just, like, instantly destroy him, because I'm doing just so much damage so quickly. As long as I play this part of it safe, I should be plenty prepared for Chitonga. Yeah, so... boom. Very, very quick if you do the strat. Which that boss, I mean, that's no joke if you're playing normally. He can be kind of tricky. But you just mash A and B, and you just do way too much damage. But yeah, I mean, as they say, third time's a charm. My third time attempting Super Mario Land, and I finally beat it. Really shouldn't have taken more than one try, but oh well. I forgot to update the games. It says 29 in the top right, it should say 30. This being game number 30. But yeah, that's definitely a very short game. Glad I did another attempt to finally beat it. And even though I didn't have much time today, at least I found 2 games that were around 20 minutes that I was still able to beat. Although 23 minutes, that's honestly kind of long for Mario Land. I think my PB's kind of around like 15 minutes. But I did play pretty safe and had a few slow deaths. But yeah, and again, the games on the top right is not correct. It should say 30 right now, and then the next video it'll say 31. But yes, that is 31 games done in only 16 days.